So the Caitlin Clark Sheryl Swoopes situation is just so weird. It's so weird. And look, I actually have to say, like, Sheryl Swoopes is unapologetically Sheryl Swoopes. Like, there's no two ways about it. Like, she's gone full Skip Bayless. And it's funny. Like, she has actually gone full Skip Bayless. So we've got an article here from Robin Lundberg. I'm pretty sure he's on YouTube as well. So I'm one of the more sane people talking about this topic. So yeah, but like Sheryl Swoopes award mention, Clayton Clark award mention led to awkward silence from Sheryl Swoopes. Like, it's funny. But if you want to look at Twitter, like, she like, they posted, like, Queen of the Court. New Queen of Court with Swoopes, fangirl of Becky's out of bounds play, praise Rakia Jackson, discuss what it takes to be back-to-back, give flowers to the Swoopsies. And then someone's like, give flowers to Caitlin Clark. And then you see this post, Swoopsie stand-up haters mad. And Sheryl Swoopes, big mad, 1 hour ago. This is like after her refusing to mention, like, this is an official WNBA podcast, by the way. This is an official WNBA podcast. I actually cannot believe this. Again, if this is her own personal thing, it's fine. And I'm just saying this right now. If this was not sponsored by WNBA, I would have absolutely no issue. I would actually find it funny what Sheryl Swoopes is doing. I would find this whole thing funny. Like, this is like next level Skip Bayless. But imagine if the NBA was paying Skip Bayless. Like, just imagine that for a second. Imagine if the NBA was paying Skip Bayless, or like the NBA was sponsoring any show from Skip Bayless. It just wouldn't happen. And that's what the equivalent of this is. Like, they're going to be excited. You have a new fan club name. This is weird for such a legend to such loser behavior. You're tweeting, and tweeting means what? And it's like, you've done nothing wrong in speaking your mind with critical compassion, introspection. She won't say anything. Caitlin Clark's Voldemort for her. Why spend so much time focused on the hate? All she had to do yesterday, it was while Player of the Week was being announced, all she had to do yesterday was say, both players had a great week. Like, that's all people, like, we all know, she doesn't like Caitlin Clark. We all know she hates Caitlin Clark. Like, and this is not, she just hates Caitlin Clark fans. She's been lying on Caitlin Clark for a year. Like, she has been 100% been lying on Caitlin Clark for a year. She's been going at Caitlin Clark for 2 years. Remember in 2023 when everyone was infatuated with Caitlin Clark, when even Taurasi and Steward were like, Caitlin Clark's like a comparison of both of us, she's unbelievable, before the reality is coming stuff in 2024 after this thing happened. Sheryl Swoopes was on the Caitlin Clark hate train before this thing happened. Before the final. Like, she was Caitlin Clark's original hater. Not named Gino Auriemma or Dawn Staley. Well, even though Dawn Staley wasn't. But, like, I'm not going to call it not recruiting her a hater. The best thing that ever happened. But, like, I can't believe that. And my favorite part about all this is that every single time Caitlin Clark is asked about legends, she always ends her listing names. She'll be listing names and she will always just go, the players that came before me. Always will mention Maya Moore, obviously. Will mention like Taurasi. I can't remember. Like, she probably would mention like Lisa Leslie, stuff like players like that, Sue Bird. And it always ends with, and of course, Sheryl Swoopes. Like, who's one of the greatest. Caitlin Clark, obviously with her media training, she probably is like, what the hell is this? Like, again, this is not like if Maya Moore was going at Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark did not grow up idolizing Sheryl Swoopes. She knew the name Sheryl Swoopes. She grew up idolizing Maya Moore. She probably grew up idolizing Taurasi, idolizing Sue Bird. She did not idolize Sheryl Swoopes. But, like, Sheryl Swoopes, considering that this whole thing is about just mentioning a rookie and you're there responding with Twitter GIFs, like, this is how to speedrun losing a sponsorship. This is how to speedrun it. And by the way, the Sheryl Swoopes podcast isn't going to go anywhere. It's not like Sheryl Swoopes is like going to just vanish, because she is one of the greatest players of all time. But like, it's funny though, because when people start to look into you, you start to see this gets brought up everywhere. One of her former players says Swoopes humiliated or created a hostile environment. Almost all the team decided they would rather not have a college scholarship than play for her. Like, it's when you give people a reason to look into that, it becomes bigger, and it is, I don't know. I really don't know what Sheryl Swoopes' endgame is for this, because I don't think Sheryl Swoopes realizes that they are one call from Caitlin Clark's agent being get her off the TV from Sheryl Swoopes being fired. Like, I don't think Caitlin Clark would do it, because I don't think Caitlin Clark listens to this outside noise. I don't think she really cares that much. I think she's too nice of a person. But like, if Caitlin Clark was, let's just say, like a LeBron James, and Skip Bayless was being sponsored by the NBA, the call would have been put in to be like, get rid of him. And he'd be gone. He'd be gone. Like, and I don't think Swoopes realizes that if Caitlin Clark wanted to, she could probably get her agent to make a call and get that podcast unsponsored, get her off the air, and I don't know. I still just don't get it. I still don't get it. Why she's doing this, because she doesn't, like, again, she doesn't have to do anything crazy. Like, you can not like a player, but it's like when you were giving credit to all the Indiana Fever and you didn't mention her. All you had to do was say, and Caitlin played the point. And you don't even have to say it in positive. You can just literally, if Sheryl Swoopes decides to only say factual information about Caitlin Clark, if Sheryl Swoopes refuses to say anything good or bad, and goes like out of her way to just say, whenever she's asked about Caitlin Clark, state a Caitlin Clark fact. And to be like, how is Caitlin Clark playing? Caitlin Clark was player of the week. Okay, if she's asked about Caitlin Clark, she could literally respond with, well, Caitlin Clark was player of the week first week after the Olympic break. That would be at least somewhat funny. Like, you don't like this person, but you know what? You at least mention it. All she had to do about the player of the week situation is just say, instead of silence and leaving your co-commentator sitting in silence waiting for you to say something, all you have to do is say, they both had great weeks. About Fee Collier and Caitlin Clark. They both had great weeks. That's all you would have had to have said to have stopped all of this. They both had great weeks. You're not saying anything crazy. But now Caitlin Clark is Voldemort, and you're out there on Twitter being like big mad and stuff when you're one of the greatest players to ever play the game, and you will not even say the name Caitlin Clark. Is she scared if she says the name Caitlin Clark 3 times? Like, she's going to come jumping out of the mirror and try to kill her? Is she scared that if she says the name Caitlin Clark, Volda Clark is going to come and hit her with Avada Kedavra? Like, what does she think's going to happen?